Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining our higher education roundtable. My name is Kartika and I'm from LeadSquared's marketing team. Today we will be discussing about digitizing enrollments in 2022. But before we get into the agenda of the roundtable, let me just quickly introduce our respected panel of speakers. We have Mr. Deepak Anand, who is the manager of admissions and marketing at PES University. We also have Mr. Rohit Rana, who is the Vice Chairman of St. Andrews Institute. And we also have Mr. Aditya Kumar, who is the Registrar of Srinivas University. And last but not the least, we have our host, Mr. Murli Krishna, who is the Vice President of Higher Ed Initiatives here at LeadSquared. So, yes, thank you so much for all the speakers. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule and joining us today. Really looking forward to the session. And yes, before we get to the session, that is, let me just quickly go through the agenda points. We will be discussing evolution and trends in higher ed enrollments post COVID, tips for accelerating student journey to enrollment rates, digitizing enrollments, placements, payments, and more, enhancing business models, learning environments, student experience, and operating models. And yes, to the audience, I just sorry, to the audience, I just wanted to say that we do have a questions tab. It will be to the right hand corner of your screen. So throughout the session, if you have any questions, please do drop it there. We will take it up towards the end of the session. And with that, let me hand the session over to our host, Mr. Murli. Please take it forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Kartika. Thanks a lot for the intro. Uh, Good afternoon, everyone. Today we are here to discuss or rather understand more about post-COVID higher education scenario. We have Rohit, Deepak, and Aditya from different parts of the country. So Rohit is having an institute, St. Andrews University in NCR, and we have Deepak Anand, who is head of PES IT in terms of admissions and marketing. And we have Aditya Kumar, part of Srinivas University, Bangalore, which is a 30-year-old institute and ramping up operations in Bangalore. So we have all the three speakers here, and we'll kickstart the session. We'll start with a quick intro from each of them, and we'll go deep dive into the topic for the day, which basically talks about post-COVID impact in terms of admissions processes, digitization in college, what changed actually after COVID had struck, right? And what methods or what platforms, what processes each of them adapted to cope up with an ongoing changes, right? So that's what we'll be discussing today. With that note, Rohit, you can start with a quick intro, and we'll go with Deepak and Aditya.
Thanks, Murli. I hope I'm audible and clear.
Yes, you're audible and clear. Yes.
So, good afternoon, everyone, and esteemed speakers, respected faculty members, colleagues from the industry. I am Rohit Rana. I am a member of management committee over here at St. Andrews, and I've been a part of the committee which organizes and make rules and regulation regarding to admissions and academics and placements. So my experience is in terms of making decisions and making processes in respects of all major functionalities of the college. So today I'll be discussing on how digitalization has changed the aspects of every different pillars of our academic institution and how they have impacted. By profession, I am an engineer. I hold a master's degree in engineering, and that's it for right now. And I look forward to the session.
Yep. Aditya uh, or Deepak. Yeah, Deepak, you can go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon to everyone who's present here online. So my name is Deepak Anand, and I'm the manager of admissions and marketing at PES University. I'm also an assistant professor in the Department of MBA. Basically, an engineer with an MBA degree. So I've been into admissions for past close to a decade now. So I've been working with PES at a very strategic level as well as the operational level to take it forward in terms of the quality and the quantitatively the admissions of the students and branding the university and upkeeping the brand that is already there and marketing of the programs, the different portfolio programs that we have, etc. So I would like to share a few of my experiences with PES University and also as a whole, so what I know about the admissions and how it has changed in the past couple of years and after the pandemic has struck the world, right? So just wanting to share a few of my experiences here in that regard, and looking forward to do that. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Deepak. Aditya?
Okay. So, uh, can you
Yeah.
Okay. I'm Aditya Kumar. I am the registrar of Srinivas University. I actually head the Bangalore operations, and we are a 30-year-old university from Bangalore. So in Bangalore, I have been taking care of a lot of things, including operations as well as marketing. So little that I know about the admissions part and the marketing part, I would like to share today, and how I would say digitization has helped us gain some momentum in Bangalore as compared to Bangalore. The difference between what how we do admissions in Bangalore and Bangalore is also mainly digitization. I would like to talk about that also today during the course of the conversation as we go ahead. That being said, I would like to say I wouldn't be able to probably give a lot of insight into this because I'm fairly new into the digitization, CRM, and other marketing tools that we use to get admissions in. But in the last 1 year or so, we have fairly good contrast of experience, I would like to say, as compared
Yeah.
to a traditional form and advanced or digitized form of admission. So I'd like to talk about that more today as we go ahead. Thank you.
Oh, perfect. And thanks everyone. Thanks Rohit, Aditya, and Deepak. So let's start with Rohit. Question for you to start with. So, what kind of digital or digitization related changes have you seen in the last 1.5 year in terms of admissions, placements, or college as a segment, right? What all digital changes you have seen or implemented in the last 1 year?
Okay, so Murli, I think technology today is no longer seen as a helper of everyday business practices. It has now become the heart and soul, the only help and the center of every business strategy. Customers want a quick and seamless digital experience. Thanks to companies like Amazon and Apple, they now expect every organization to deliver product and services swiftly with a seamless user experience. uh, if we talk about customers or maybe like students, they want to log in. I'll just give you an example that they want to log into their online electricity account and see a real-time report of their consumption. They expect to buy a phone from their telecommunication provider and let it activate and set up immediately out of the box. In similar ways, the needs and demand of people associated with the education industry has also evolved. In respect of student acquisition earlier, I think print, physical displays, open house had a huge impact. And even today, they are very, very important. But digital altogether after the COVID scenario was the only choice left. Remember the day when, there was lockdown and there was no means of even commuting to the office and we had to work from home. That time, that was the only source of, work we had, and the only source of talking with the kids and, knowing what they want to do. So, that was the time that they had no choice. But if we talk about today, when the situation is much more better, now, we have the major emphasis on the digital parts is still increased from the pre-COVID time. That's what I think. Now campus tour, at that time was changed to virtual campus tours. Physical counselings were changed to virtual counselings. Our new classrooms are the Zooms, Google Meet, Microsoft meetings, and all new amazing products. Some positive points that I want to pinpoint are that that actually helped out in the digital era, that students who had good digital connections benefited in a way that they saved time and cost in traveling, I would say, when they were taking classes from home. And in fact, making decisions for college also had a huge impact, because earlier kids staying in different cities, and if they were interested in different colleges which were present in different states, they could go and travel and do a campus tour over there. But during the after the COVID era, the point of having a virtual tour or having a virtual counselings, that have increased tremendously. Shifting toward
Okay.
digital also enabled a lot of practical learning. People are much more used to softwares and have improved their computer functionality in total. So which I think had also had a very huge impact. Now this is something that everybody has to know, and it could be anybody from any department. They have to be accustomed to these kind of softwares.
Yeah. So that brings me to one quick question, Rohit. I keep on hearing from multiple colleges, the counselors or the users who are in different departments finding it difficult to adapt to the new technologies, right? So did you face a similar kind of challenge, or if yes, how did you tackle that?
So before pre-COVID itself, we were using our softwares, like we were using LeadSquared itself. I think
Yeah.
from 2016, I guess. And our team was pretty much accustomed to the software that was implemented. So obviously, yes, the old members never had a problem using the product. But yes, when we bring in new team members, we had a challenge of onboarding them. So if
Okay.
physical onboarding was much more easier, wherein people could be taught how the software can be used, and the onboarding time was less. But
Okay.
in digital, what happened, what it was not only about the software, but like I mentioned, digital connectivity. Sometimes what happens is team members don't have a very good connections at home, or a very good setup which is ready for them, and it takes time to make them. And when we talk about a physical space, when you make your when you set up your physical space where a particular job needs to be done, you design it in a way that everybody gets help and they are trained very fast, and they can directly start their work. So obviously that is a difference, I would say, and that is one of the challenges we faced. And the process that we implemented after that is that obviously it took a little time, but then the processes got better, and everything is fine, I think.
Okay. Perfect. Thanks, Rohit. So, Deepak, very same question from PES perspective. PES obviously is little more digitally savvy from day one as an institute. But post-COVID, how did it change? Like, is it ramped up multifold in terms of digital footprint, or is there any other process changes which you have done?
Yeah, as you rightly pointed out, Murali, we have been digitally savvy right from the beginning. In fact, in terms of digital space, in terms of taking things through the technology level, we have always been there right from the beginning. So much so that we already had a fully built ERP system
Okay.
at PES University, which was inbuilt. It's called as PESU Academy. Okay. In fact, we have a
Okay.
in-house software team with full-time working professionals of around 30 of them who are working at
Okay.
PES University. We have a company on our own at PES University, which only client for them is PES University, and they build our own applications for us, right? So one of the major applications that we have is
Okay.
PESU Academy, which is the ERP system of PES. And there are various modules which are plugged into this particular ERP, like the admissions module, placement module, library module, students module, etc. So one module which basically saw great evolvement in a short period of time was the students module. Okay, so we did have the way to reach out to the students with the trends and performances, their performance in ISA, ESA, how it was comparing with others in the classrooms and across the campus or with their peer groups from other courses, etc. So using that particular ERP, visually they could see where exactly they stacked amongst their competitors, their own peer groups, correct among themselves, etc. Right? So access was also given to the parents so that they could see all of this. All of this was there already available before COVID itself, right? So we only had to, amplify upon this and grow upon this to make sure that it became even better when the COVID stuck. And one of the tools that we used was obviously the Microsoft Teams to conduct the classes, online classes. Again, we used webhooks to attach that to our ERP system so that it worked synchronously without much of a problem with our ERP system. And we did that with a considerable amount of success, right?
Okay.
So that was from the classes and operations point of view. And we took this as an opportunity to build the entire jargon of the digital inventory for all the courses and the subjects which is still there on the cloud. Okay, so we have in the students module, for example, if an MBA student logs into the student module on day one of their class at PES University, for that particular semester, for all the subjects of that semester, they can see the various digital inventories there on the cloud. For example, if they take a subject called as marketing management, right? And for that particular subject, on day one, they can see the recorded videos of the professors for all the chapters, the PPT presentations which have been professionally made, the question bank, question answers, references, slides, notes, assignments, everything on the cloud for them to access. And all of these materials are professionally made. In fact, I sat with a green cloth behind me using a particular software in order to build a professional slide deck so that I could put this onto the cloud for the students to see. And there was a proper process that was set up by the university wherein every single professor had to go through a particular process to record all of this and to ensure that it was all audited and put onto the cloud for the students to access. And today, I can say that for all the subjects, for all the courses, for all the subjects that we have at the university, we do have the digital inventory for all of the programs there on the cloud for the students to access. And one caveat that we put here for the students is that just because we give everything on the cloud to you doesn't mean that you need to sit at home to look at that. And it's not like you can take, you can study from home and come to the university to write the exams. It is not like that. We do have a very stringent 85% attendance norm. Currently, all the students are coming to the campus, and we ensure that they come to the campus because the quality of learning, all said and done, is going to be much better on campus in the classroom rather than the digital learning per se. That is what we have seen. Of course, there is a fallback option in case a student is not feeling well, is not able to attend the classes. Then there is a digital inventory that is there that they can fall upon to use that. But can you hear me? Yeah. So, but they need to come to the campus to ensure that they attend the classes, ensure that they do the things on the campus
Yeah.
because things that you do on the campus, there are a lot of things that you can't do online, right? Peer-to-peer interaction, for example, getting onto the dais and facing your colleagues and your peer group and giving a presentation, going to a library, utilizing the digital facilities which is on campus, interacting with the various other departments which is on the same campus, talking to other faculty members, right? So these are all the things which you cannot obviously not do if you're doing it online. But again, these are all the same things which will add value to a student if he or she wants to prosper. If you want to get into a good company, if you want to get into a good higher education institution, these are all the things which becomes very important, and we place a lot of emphasis. We place a lot of emphasis on all that. So this, in terms of digital aspects, we have always been there, and we have evolved over time and very quickly in the 2 years of the pandemic to get there. But the traditional way of learning is also still there, and we are placing emphasis on that. I guess the host is not there, and we are talking among ourselves.
I think he had some internet connection issues.
Okay.
I think I don't know whether we need to wait or.
Yeah, I think Mr. Aditya, we would definitely love to hear out from you that what is your experience in the same terms.
I think Karthika is here to save the day.
Yes, yes, I
Yeah.
am here. Extremely sorry about that. We will check in the background if Mr.
So you
Murli
see
can
how
join.
bad the digital things are, right? In India, especially. So there's not much that we can do.
I would
Use
that,
what we have to do.
to that.
What is there? That's it.
I would
Yes,
absolutely
yes.
come to that, Mr. Deepak. The digital, right? This is one of the reasons where we fear to let our employees or our students get into digital field because a lot of mishaps happen and a lot of people take advantage of the situation. That is something that I have seen in the last few days, actually.
We are all from metros.
Uh,
In metro, this is happening. Just imagine what should happen in the tier 2 and tier 3 towns and city and villages. Right?
Yes, yes, definitely. So yes, I see that Mr. Murli has joined. I've sent him an invitation to join again. So yes, you can continue with what you were discussing, Mr. Deepak, or if anybody else has to add to his points, then that can also happen. Mr. Aditya, how about
yes,
yeah.
yes. Uh, my experience has been quite contrast actually. If you from what we heard from Rohit and Deepak, I think both of them were already ready with their digital and their digitization process much before COVID and pandemic hit. Whereas Srinivas University, I don't know how many of you know, it's very traditional and very old school kind of method that they use for admissions and process and stuff. So when COVID hit, it hit us quite bad actually, to be honest. And we were not prepared to go digital, go online, and all those things were not completely in set. The process was not set. So once we opened the Bangalore campus, which was in pipeline anyway, from day one, I made sure that we had everything digitized here. Everything is set up in a way where, if in case tomorrow there's another lockdown or there's another any situation where we can't come to office and work, we are prepared to go home and continue working and still get the results that we need. Um, that is in terms of admissions, in terms of workflow at the university level. But as Mr. Deepak said, the education wise, student who comes to college, student who comes to the university and learns, nothing can substitute that. No online, no amount of any kind of data available on the cloud or whatever can substantiate that. And that is the whole reason we are still pushing students to come offline, even though a lot of them are asking us to start an online program and start a lot of other methods of having a hybrid system. We are trying our best to push all our students to come to classes. Even during time when a lot of colleges were having semi-offline, semi-online kind of a thing, we were insisting that they come to college. We were maintaining social distancing. One advantage that we had in Bangalore is we had a lot of space and we had a lot of maybe one class to three different classes, and we had lecturers to take the classes and all those things. But we insisted that the student comes to college as much as possible. But digitization is a must. I think that is the way ahead, and it's already started now. From the time I have got the LeadSquare and other things implemented in our institution, I think everybody's life has become a lot more simpler. Everybody, the admissions have become much more easier task. I would like to say it used to be a Herculean task before, and I think the workflow, the process, and who is doing what is very clear. And I think that has helped us quite a bit from what we were before. And we have a process, a much better process in place now. That's what I'd like to say.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much to all the speakers for those points. I still don't see Mr. Murli. Definitely digitization and its small hiccups, I would say. Yes, so I think we can move on with the conversation. So I just have one question that had come into us, as in this was sent through email to us earlier. So I just need to, I was just going to ask this question to any of the speakers, anyone can take it up. So the question was that, let me just quickly grab it. I'm so sorry. Yes. How is the landscape transforming and how it affects on cost of student acquisition? As in with the new innovations and transformations and stuff in higher ed, how is it affecting it?
Okay, I would like to take up the question. So,
Sure.
I think when because of the this digitalization post COVID, government to increase the gross enrollment ratio has come up, with the new ventures wherein they're allowing a lot of universities to start these online learning, to start giving degrees online. And I think they have seen this path to be at a great success in increasing the total, the education rate of India. And I think this has a very huge impact. But if I talk about the total cost of acquisition, uh, for us, I think it has gone a little bit up, wherein everybody, when competing on the same digital platforms, when COVID had happened, the number of people doing ads and, number of universities keeping their ad budget more, putting it more on digital, actually increased the competition, due to which I think the cost of acquisition went a little bit more. That's what happened in the past. But now, when we see, if we compare it to the 2020, it's little low, or I would say similar to if compared to 2020. That's what I have feel. I think Mr. Deepak would also be able to answer it much better.
Rohit, a quick follow-up question. So, is there any change in sources which you have seen for the last 2 years? Like one source is working before and now it drastically changed?
So yes, I would definitely say that, because there are a couple of sources, like SMS marketing. I would just give an example. Okay, so Indian government has changed its rules and regulations for the same thing very very much, and because of which, the source which was very good, quite not a very large impact, but yes, little bit of impact, that's depleting now. And as I said in earlier also, there were education fairs, which used to be huge success, at least for us also. But they are
Okay.
not happening, as of now. And that I would say that source has gone down. So that kind of a change has happened. Other than that, the Google search volumes have gone up. So obviously the publishers and the direct marketing has gone up, and social media obviously. There are new channels. People are more there on LinkedIn, Quora, and new channels have come up, and that calls for a 360-degree marketing, and people should definitely look into that.
And overall, budgets wise, it increased, Rohit, or it is on par, or it is a lower spend now with better ROI?
I would not say it has increased, but that definitely, depends on the kind of outcome you need to process. Before pre-COVID, also every year we had a new vision that we wanted to capture. So it really depends on that, and obviously, I always believe that I always market in a way that we can figure out the ROI, and sometimes doing print ads, and that is something which is very difficult to calculate the ROI. So obviously, yes, I would say it has remained the same, but yes, more emphasis are being given on digital spends.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Rohit. Deepak, from PES perspective, how did it go?
Um, when you asked about how did the acquisitions from different channels change, and I actually
Yeah.
smiled, because I don't know if there is anyone in the world who know exactly where the students are coming from, right? Which channel they are coming
Correct.
from. Today they are on internet. Tomorrow they are reading newspaper. Third day they are looking at the holding. Fourth day they are attending an event, right?
Correct.
You really don't know which has actually resulted in the conversion. Although in the Google Ads, I can see that the conversions, the numbers are popping up with the tags that are put on the website and all that. But at the end of the day, you really don't know which medium has actually made them take that particular final step in making that particular decision, right? It's very, very
Correct.
tough. And even if you ask them, if you conduct an interview with them, and if you ask them, they themselves are kind of
Yeah.
they don't know the answer. If you ask them where exactly you saw PES University as a brand and how did you make this decision, even today, I challenge at least 90% of the educationalists. If they go and talk to their students, they'll tell them that it was mostly through the word of mouth.
Correct.
So people just don't come to a university paying that kind of fee and committing 3 to 4 years of their life through just a Google ad search word or attending an event. Just because you speak to them a few beautiful words, they will not take that decision. That's what I've seen
So,
over
but Deepak,
experience.
from the business perspective, for whom do you attribute? I mean, at least on the analytics perspective, who gets the attribution in general? Is it the primary source of lead, or the final source, or maybe a combination of all of this?
Um, I would say the combination of all of this, obviously, because you can't attribute anything to anybody. It's very, very tough. It's kind of very tough to attribute it to anybody because, as I told you, a student would have heard about a particular brand. They will have their own aspirations through which they are going to choose a particular institution, and it's going to happen based on that. And they are going to look up to the institution. It's just like owning a fancy car these days. You say that I own a Mercedes, I own a BMW. So it's become a brand statement for the students when they say that I belong to this particular institutions, I'm doing this, I'm doing that there. So it's kind of very tough, it's very tough to understand based on what they're going to make the decision and all of that. But
Okay.
coming to the question that was initially asked as to how is the landscape transforming and what is the cost of student acquisition. And as Rohit clearly told, the cost of acquisition has actually gone up because of the digital spending and marketing and all that.
Okay.
But for a university like PES, because we were a university, we did have processes within campus also, right? Like
Okay.
we did have our own entrance exam. We do have our own entrance exam from 2013 called as PESAT. And students from across India used to come to our university, take the test, and we used to have a process on campus. And that was taken care by a third party vendor, and we had to pay a certain amount for them as well. Of course, all of that was offset during the COVID time because nothing was happening on campus, everything was online. And the
Okay.
only expense that we had to incur was the online charges that we had to pay for some vendors, wherein we transformed the process from off campus to online. So, in
Okay.
fact, we saved a lot of money being a university that way. And some of that savings we invested online, so that we used to get that leverage from the online space, get that traffic, get those leads. And of course, the concept of leads at PES University itself is a new, fresh. It's a very young concept at PES University, because of how strong a brand we were. We used to get a lot of students and admissions as it is. We never
Okay.
had to nurture the leads and go behind people. We never had a sales vertical per se.
Hmm.
Right?
Okay.
We never had a sales. We did have marketing vertical, we did have branding vertical, but we did not have a sales vertical, primarily because we did not find the need for that at that point of time. But now,
Okay.
because a lot of players are coming to the digital space, a lot of players have actually entered into the sales concept with the edtech companies coming in. You know what are the different edtech
Correct.
companies that are there? Very, very aggressive in their marketing, very, very aggressive, and their sales vertical. If you look at the sales vertical, it would be like it's nothing short of a corporate industry that is out there, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
traditional educational universities and colleges never used to function that way.
Correct. Very true. I mean,
So even if you look at historically, it's generally the professors and the teachers who used to do most of the operational and non-teaching
yeah.
activities also, like admissions and branding and all of that. Now the situation is changing a lot after COVID, especially after the edtech companies are coming to the space, and the regular universities and the colleges have to compete with them for the piece of pie. So things are becoming more organized, things are becoming more professional in the non-teaching area of the colleges and the universities, and that is where the digital aspects of things are coming. And all of this has resulted in the increase in the cost of acquisition of the student. It doesn't come free of cost. So if I want to take LeadSquared service, obviously you don't offer me to be a free of cost, right?
Yeah.
I
Obviously.
did have to negotiate a lot to get what I got from you guys. So it is going to cost us some amount of money, and I believe it's good because accountability is there, transparency is there, as compared to the non-digital way of operating things. In a digital medium, there's a lot of transparency and accountability, and everyone knows what who is doing. Like Mr. Aditya said, everybody knows who's doing what, and everybody can be held accountable for all of their work.
Perfect.
So
That's great insight.
it's easier to plan the process, forecast, and budget, and go on from there, so that the cost per acquisition can be clearly monitored and taken from there. But all of this said and done, I think it's a broader branding aspects and the brand association that is in the minds of the candidates and the students, which really affects and drives them to the colleges and the universities that they choose.
Perfect. That's great insight, Deepak. So Aditya, you being a traditional university, right, and based in Bangalore till now, so I think your digital channels obviously were not the major source pre-COVID. I'm assuming people or the student would have come directly. How did that change, in the last few years?
So, what I would like to say is you're right. We were a very organically marketing based institute where we used to get students organically to our institute. We were not doing much of marketing or branding till about 5 6 years back. I think we slowly picked up the marketing aspect and getting things in order in terms of marketing from 5 6 years back. And when COVID hit, we were not at all, like I said, digitally or digitized in any way. I think that aspect has caused a change in the entire institute, not only in Bangalore, also in Bangalore. The marketing for a lot of courses in Bangalore is also happening from Bangalore through organized digital format, where we have a CRM in place, where we have people calling and reaching out to students, and all those things are happening. And this is something which has changed. And I would say I wouldn't have probably got to this, or this change wouldn't have been seen if COVID had not hit us. I think it's a positive thing that has happened. And like Mr. Deepak said,
And
with a lot of startup companies coming in, a lot of edtech companies coming in, this is something that we need to do in order for us to move up in future, or keep up the same place that we have kept, and continue the progress in future. Otherwise, edtech companies, I mean, the kind of marketing budgets they have and the kind of marketing that they do, I think they are attracting a lot of students who have never even thought of getting into edtech colleges or courses before. They're making it very attractive. They're making it very, how do I say, um, lucrative for them to come and join them. but I wouldn't want to comment on the course and the certification and those aspects. But when the student is making a decision, it makes it a lot more lucrative for him to go join an edtech. That's the kind of marketing and the cost that they're spending on marketing. A traditional university, it can be a type grade A, grade B, grade C, any kind of university. I don't think they would actually consider spending so much money on advertising or marketing, if not for an edtech space or if not for the competition. That's what I'd like to say. But I think now it's the need of the hour.
Perfect. So that brings me to the next important question on placements, right? Obviously, students choose a college. One major reason is how the placements are happening or how the research facilities are there in the college, right? Now, post COVID, is there an impact in the way corporates are hiring from colleges, or is it all good, or is there any change observed there? Any insights, Rohit, Deepak?
I think it has had a huge impact. The reason being, first of all, I would start by dividing into three parts. The training of the kids, and then organizing the campus drives, and final placements. Bringing the corporates to the campus. So first part, trainers. Now you have the quality of trainers have gone up, because now you can have people from the industry actually delivering the training that you want the students to be trained on. So that has become quite easier. Earlier, this used to be a challenge. And second, organizing campus drives have become very easier now. Earlier, there used to be a part where the corporate would give us a date that they'll be traveling from a particular city, maybe let's say Bangalore itself, and then coming into the campus to organize the drive. And to when we are talking about 150, 300 recruiters on a year, in a year, it's like having everybody every day. So doing it online has changed a lot, and I personally think it has it is much more easier, and the process of selection is much more better. For us, the number of recruiters have increased to a tremendous 50%, and in fact, the placements has also gone up. The average package has gone up. The highest package has gone up. So I think this is the right way to approach things. And also on the other end, I would say that this opens a new domain for the placement, that is also international placements, wherein companies, when we talk about companies, a culture, work from home culture, there are a lot of companies outside India now looking to recruit Indians at a very handsome package at a work from home situation. So I think all of the entire scenario has changed quite a bit, and it has happened in favor of the kids. The only problem I see to this is for the kids who don't have proper equipments or proper internet connections at home. They definitely suffer. But when the campus opens up, they can come back and use the campus facilities. And but the entire process has become much more better. That's what I would say.
Okay. So it's a positive shift then.
I think so.
Okay. Deepak, how did it go with your experience?
Yeah, it is a bittersweet kind of a thing when it comes to placements for the students, right? Bitter, I would say, because the companies themselves were initially not very confident of hiring from this particular batch. All said and
Yeah,
done, it was all on the news and the media and everywhere, and it is true that
correct.
companies don't find it very
Practical
confident.
knowledge was missing, is what they felt.
And it is not truly the students' fault. Students never ask for any of this.
Yeah,
So it's just that they were at the wrong place at the wrong time. So it was not the students' fault. They did what they had to do, and we did what we had to do to ensure that everything went on smoothly. But nevertheless, in terms of the confidence of hiring, it was not very high among the companies. But even then, if you look at the numbers, if you look at statistics per se, it does not change much. In fact, the highest salaries packages, the overall median salary packages has gone up, especially among the technology companies when we saw in the
yeah.
past.
And the number of companies coming for hiring definitely would have been
Yes.
on the spike.
The
Yeah,
number of companies that have come has increased. The number of interviews that the companies are doing with the students has also increased. And surprisingly, and not so surprisingly, the number of international offers has also increased because it has become so convenient for them. They don't have to send a team. They can set up the things digitally because everybody is doing the same thing. And in fact, many of us, more students have got placed with international offers than any of the previous years in the past 2 years, actually. So this
okay.
has all shifted in. This is most of it is moving towards a positivism and the positive aspects of things. But again, if you look at the overall confidence from the industry as to how good a particular candidate is, if they hire them for a particular package, I don't think that confidence level is very high even now.
Okay, perfect.
That's what it is.
Aditya, what do you have to say? So, is there a positive impact from Srinivas University perspective?
In terms of placements, I think we are okay as compared to the year before that. So the first year and maybe 2020 beginning to 2021 beginning, we were a little bit of an issue with the whole placement thing. We were not able to get enough people to come in and do the placements. But to our surprise, medical college, usually there is not much of placements that happen there, but a lot of people had come down and asked for not only doctors but also medical coders and other fields of medicine that they wanted to come in and recruit, which was quite a surprise for us. But I think that way we opened a new field of hiring from a medical college. A lot of people who want to be the doctors are not just being doctors now; they're also being part of the IT industry by being medical coders, by being other medical facilitators, and those kind of openings have opened up in the last 1 year. I'd like to say IT recruitment has been okay in the last 1 year. Before that, we saw a major dip in recruitment from engineering, in recruitment from management as well. I think I would say things
Okay.
are looking better now compared to how it was before. And this year we're looking at very high placements.
Okay, great. So before we go into the last question, let audience ask any specific questions. Anyone out there, any specific questions you want to put out to any of our speakers? Please feel free on the chat window. We'll be happy to take the questions. Yeah. So the last question to all the speakers out there in terms of the technology or the tools which are being used across the college, right? Be it a CRM like LeadSquared or any other ERPs or any tools which you used or which you adapted during the last 1.5 year or so. And probably audience will be happy to listen on what made you or what is the necessity of those tools, right? Like any tool for that matter. Like I have spoken to a lot of colleges who adapted a lot of digital classrooms as a model, right? And all the sessions are recorded by default, right? That itself is a huge investment. So what made you to choose such technologies, and how do you think the future looking in terms of more and more tools coming into the college segment? Deepak, you want to go first on that front?
That is given actually. What you said is a necessity of the hour. It is not an option. It is a requirement. It is a need. It is not a want anymore. So people must adapt technologies. People must start using new technologies, developing technologies and applications of their own to customize their offerings effectively to the stakeholders. Because it's no longer an option. It must be done. Automatic recording of classes. Uh, Tools that we use, whatever that we are using right now, it's a mandatory thing. So as far as that is concerned, it is required in terms of the operational running of the institution per se. But when it comes to marketing aspects, the CRM is also very important in the current scenario because of the edtech companies coming there and offering a stiff competition to the conventional universities and colleges. So we are it's a good thing that's happening. Although an edtech company is totally a different in terms of character compared to a regular college or university, it is still trying to offer a healthy competition, and we are actually looking up to these people to their strengths. And what is their strength? Their strength is their investment. Their strength is their art structure. Their strength is their investment potential. Their strength is their sales vertical, the marketing, the branding. Of course, it is always beneficial for us to take a leaf out of that and to implement some of that and to get better on our own. Of course, comparing them to us is apples to oranges. We can't do that. But still, it is good for us to look at the positive aspects of the competition around us and try to outdo them and as best as we can. So we can't do that without adapting the right technologies and the right tools and the right mediums that is there. It's very, very important. And that is what all the universities right now are looking at doing it. If they do, they'll adapt, they'll survive. Otherwise, they'll perish in the times to come. And the newer institutions which are actually adapting all of this will be doing better, and the others will be getting into the oblivion. And that is what I think. I think Murli, we lost you there, and I think is there?
Okay. So we have a question from.
Sure.
Am I audible?
Karthika, you again.
Yes, yes, yes.
Audible?
Yeah, you're audible. You're audible, Murli. Yeah.
Yes, but I think your voice is breaking
I'm
a
not
little
audible.
bit. So I think I'll just take up this
Okay. Yeah.
question.
So there's a
Uh,
question.
okay, yes, sure,
Yeah,
Murli, you
there's a
can go
question
ahead.
from Nitin. Oh. So Nitin is asking that there are a lot of innovative courses which are getting launched, specifically dual degree courses, short-term certification programs with placements, etc. So he want to know whether these courses will be successful, in the long run. That's his question, and probably he want to know your insights on why these kind of courses will be successful if they are. Rohit, you want to take that up, or
Right.
Deepak?
So I think traditional courses have their own essence. You cannot compare a engineering degree to just a web development course of maybe like 5 or 6 months. The basic vision, or not vision, but I would say goal of an engineering degree is to develop problem solving skills, and a skill. The basic skills are very important. What we learn in our engineering is when we face different kind of problems, how do we face them and how do we develop a solution to them, not a specific skill. And yes, the short term programs is a really good way to learn new skills in bridging a gap. And I think that has been happening in the past in corporates also, when students used to be a part of a team. I think LeadSquared itself, our students are there. And if you are doing any kinds of recruitments, there are kids that join you, and then you do a training session on them, and that's like a short term training program also. So these programs are efficient in terms of corporate training also. And today when we see when we talk about startups coming up, they don't have a very big bandwidth of training kids, so they want students ready. They don't want to do an OJT, on job training. They want students to start from day one. At these places, these courses really help the kids to grasp something. And also, let's say if a student has interest in a particular line, let's say if we talk about data science, okay, that's a very much upcoming field of computer science that we deal in. And students these days love to be a part of it. Now our engineering degrees, yes, they have a lot of things related to learning in data science. But let's say if a student wants to learn more and go deep into a particular topic, and wherein research also comes into play, there the short term programs also play a role, wherein you learn something which is not a part of your curriculum, but and you develop more skills in it. That's what I think. And yes, they definitely would have a future into it.
Okay. And Deepak, what do you think?
Yeah, I think most of it is same as what Rohit has said. You can't replace. We do have meal replacements in the marketplace, but that doesn't replace the actual meal, right? So that's the.
So that brings me to the next question, Deepak and Rohit, that will colleges plan to have short-term certifications also, or no?
It is required. It is required. Just because
It
you
is.
have a meal doesn't mean that you don't say no to snacks once in a while, right? So
Yeah.
analogy
Very
is
true.
something similar. So it's a necessity again. It's a necessity again because of the edtech companies that are coming in with the various organizations in the marketplace offering. Take for example, a lot of companies. I would not want to name the companies. So they offer 3 months programs, 6 months certification programs. Some of it, that you can finish in 16 hours, 20 hours, and you'll get a certificate from them. I don't know how good that particular certificate is, by the way,
Yeah.
but you do get those things, right? So it is, again, if you don't do that, you're lacking in a way as a university. Maybe
Right.
an institute may not want to do it, a college may not want, but a university must do it, because university is something holistic. It is something that needs to offer the students every aspect of the learning that is there. And today, uh, even if we even I told you about the digital deliverables, right? Digital inventory that we have put up on the cloud, even that is in a modular fashion. It is
Okay.
not in a conventional form. It is in a modular fashion wherein a student can pick one of the elements and learn end to end of that and then go to the next module, right? So that is how the world is transitioning today. It's not like it's a continuous thing. It's more like a blockchain stuff wherein you do one thing, then you finish that and go to the next stuff and finish it. So in that sense, I think certification programs, short-term courses, everything should be a part of the deliverables of the university is what I think.
I would also like to add on to this. If you read the recent NEP, that is the National Education Policy, they've introduced a new rule, and I'll give you an example in that. That if a student enrolls, let's say, in an engineering program, so if he, let's say, goes out of the course after first year, he will be awarded a certificate. Okay, so
True.
you can call it as a short-term certificate program. If he graduates after 2 years and he doesn't want to continue, then again a diploma he's going to get, and that's how they have divided. So obviously, yes, these short-term courses will have an impact, and definitely, as a university, more and more, collaborated approaches are going to come. You see these days universities working with industry and launching new programs. That's also, I would say, a kind of certifications that things are being offered, and students are able to get help from them. So yes, they have a very good future to it.
Yeah, LeadSquared is planning to launch a sales certification program in collaboration with colleges.
I
That's
think
something
we should do something
is,
related to sales automation also. That is
yeah,
something very much coming up, and people don't know how to use ERPs and CMS.
very true, very true.
You
So
definitely
Rohit, that brings to my previous question. Yeah, Deepak, you're saying something.
I
Yeah,
think if you are offering the certification, it definitely adds value because you have the competency in the marketplace in that particular area.
correct.
You can
Yes.
definitely bring in the learnings and the shortfalls and try to introduce that in the particular program.
Yeah, so the idea is key to basically get good sales folks out, into the market. That's the idea, and also to help students to realize what is sales little beforehand. Now, currently, in a lot of places, what happens is the student, without knowing much information about sales, he comes into a sales career, and eventually he moves back into a different career because he realizes that sales is not what he thought.
Yeah.
Right. So
And
that's the gap which we want to
also
fill.
the people confuse between marketing and sales and both
Yes, very
are
much.
different things altogether. So whenever they use it interchangeably, which they should not, right?
Yeah, Kartika is laughing. She is part of the marketing team, by the way.
I'm
I've
sure,
had to
I'm sure she
explain
would
this
have
to a
joined
lot
this
of
job.
people.
I'm sure she would have joined this job thinking that it's a marketing job, and later she wanted to do a sales thing.
No, I'm actually from a computer science background, so I didn't want to do computer science for the longest time. So when I joined marketing, I myself, like Murli said, I myself was so confused as to what to do. But yes, definitely, these kind of courses will help in that case. Yes.
Yeah,
Most of these
that
companies
is
are
important.
also, who come
Yeah,
to
Deepak.
hire students are also coming for a sales position itself.
Pardon, Aditya, we lost you in between.
No, I said most of the companies who come to recruit marketing students, when they end up with a job, it's a sales job.
Yeah, that's the sad reality in the market.
But Murli, somewhere down the line, I think they are very much associated. I don't know why do I think this, but I think they are the same tea. It's the milk and the sugar. And if he's not a good salesperson, he could never be a never good marketing person. If
Yeah, it
you
goes
Definitely.
can't
hand
sell
in
something,
hand.
you
Yes,
can't design a process to sell something.
It goes
correct.
hand in hand. Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yes.
it goes hand in hand, definitely. So, I mean, see, at the end of the day, are you interacting with clients directly, talking to them, or by content, right? These are the ideal
yeah,
difference. But the content you write is as good as what you talk.
right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one
Okay,
piece we
perfect.
are
Nitin,
correct.
hope our speakers. Yeah. Nitin, hope your question is answered. And anybody from the audience, any other questions, please do post. We have last couple of minutes left. So Rohit, what technology tools you implemented in the last 1.5 year? Obviously, one is LeadSquared. We know that. So other than that, any other technologies which you implemented in the last 1-2 years across the college?
Yeah. So yes, I am a person who loves new technology, and the kind of connectors I purchase from you. I always has a
Yeah.
discussion with your team that can you decrease the cost and asking for discounts. So I've been using tools like Unbounce for specific like landing pages to get more control over what kind of messages we want to give. And I've also used softwares like Pinnacle Works, that is a super bot. So wherein earlier communication was handled through direct users, and what we see is a like same questions being asked by students or new students coming
The
in.
repeated FAQs which the student asks.
Yeah,
Correct.
so there are bots coming into play where they can engage with the kids on a simple chat bot, or in fact now they are coming up with a voice channel also, wherein the same questions can be asked, like understood over voice and then replied to also. And these
Okay.
are kind of things. And also the application system. Earlier our application system was very simple, and they didn't had a connection with our CRM software. Now
Okay.
obviously I would also definitely tell you guys to develop on the same thing. And it requires a lot of development and good logical skills, wherein we could ask students at various steps if he's facing the issue, and we could provide him help, not with a human, but maybe like a bot, because most of the questions are same. So these are some technologies I have worked with. Obviously Zoom, Microsoft, and everything, that is something everybody implements. We've been using Google Classroom as I thought it was a very very simple tool, because I never wanted to make things difficult for students, because the easier it is, the better it is. That is what is my thinking. Obviously these are the basic tools that I've implemented. Obviously yes, there are hundreds of other tools that I tried to learn and try to implement, but yes, these are the major ones that I've used in the past.
Okay. Perfect. Deepak, do you have any specific tools which you want to name or highlight?
Is this a kind of competition analysis from your end, Murali?
Yeah, you may think so.
Okay.
But so I'm not keen on the CRM as a tool, but I'm more keen on college as a institute or a university. What is the technology landscape which we are looking at? As a general
Uh, yeah. So the two major tools that we have used recently have been Microsoft Teams. That obviously for the various advantages it has, we had to use it. And the other one obviously is LeadSquared. But other than that, all the other tools that we have are in-house and inbuilt. Even
Okay.
the chatbot that we have on our website has been inbuilt by our own software team. And
Okay.
we have all the ERP systems, all the modules, any application that we want. Uh, in fact, 50% to 60% of the requirements of LMS has been built by our in-house team only as well. But
Okay.
looking at the number of functionalities that I had in LeadSquared, I did not think that our in-house team in such a short time could be able to match that particular complexity. So I went to LeadSquared. Otherwise, we could have built it in-house as well. In fact, if I give them 1 year's time, they'll build it something similar as LeadSquared. Allow them to build it now that we have LeadSquared.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we do have the competencies within to build all our requirements in-house. So that way, we are self-sufficient there, and we are using all the tools that we need as with the inbuilt applications that we have.
Okay. Perfect. So Aditya, what are your thoughts? I think from the traditional college perspective, you are implementing a lot of technologies, is what I see. How is it going for you?
So like uh, not can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yeah, you're a little patchy, but yeah.
Yeah, okay. No, right now we have not automated a lot of our processes except the admission part of it, I would say.
Okay.
LeadSquare, obviously, we are using for our CRM. We have a call center set up with a dialer and the other things that go along with it. So basically, our outbound calling and inbound calling part is completely automated, and
Okay.
the admission process is more or less automated. So these are the things we have started the implementation with. And so since we've just started it, I don't see a reason why we need to stop. But it's a long way for us to go, for us to get an ERP in place and get a few other things also automized and digitized. So it's a process. I would say it's going to take us at least the next 5 years to get completely in that league of say a PESET or Tier A college. It's going to take us 5 years, but yeah, nevertheless, it's good we started now. It's a wake up call, and it's better now than later.
Perfect. That's great, Aditya. Pleasure. So, thanks, Rohit. Thanks, Deepak. Thanks, Aditya, for joining the session today, and for all the insights and thoughts. Any last comments which you want to make? Please feel free. And meanwhile, audience, any questions? Please post. We have last 1 more minute. One of us will answer your questions. If not, you can always write to Kartika or Shibani. We'll be happy to take up any questions offline.
Yes, yes, definitely.
Yeah,
I
So
think
any,
great
yeah.
session, and I also learned a lot from Mr. Deepak and Mr. Aditya. And I think these sessions really help out people, in people who have just started their journey in the education scape and digitizing it. And there are very less people out there in the market who understand these softwares and how to use them effectively. So obviously, this could become as a learning resource for them. And it was thank you so much for having me here.
yeah.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure is ours, Rohit.
Thanks a lot again. It was an opportunity because every minute that we spend with somebody who knows something is a valuable information that you're going to get. I did learn a lot, and thank you very much for inviting me here. It was an opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Deepak. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for having me. Thanks, Deepak and Rohit. I mean, I'm quite young in the industry and especially the digital part of the whole thing. And glad to be part of this forum.
Yeah,
Thank you for having
the
me.
journey is together,
Got to
Aditya.
learn a
So
lot
we'll be
from,
there.
yeah, got to learn from Deepak and Rohit. A lot of insights. I'd like to probably meet both of you in person and discuss further on this and
Yeah,
see how.
so we are planning to host a physical roundtable if everything goes well, maybe in next couple of months. We'll be
Thank
happy to catch up with you guys as well face to face. Yeah,
Yes,
thank
uh,
thank
like that
you.
we can avoid all the technical glitches we had also, and it'll all be normal and nice.
Yeah,
Definitely. Thank you so much to all the speakers who joined. Thank you for taking the time out for this, and also thank you so much to the audience and our backend team for. Thank you, Vivek, for setting this up. Yes, wonderful session, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
thank you.
thank
All
you.
right, guys, take care. Bye bye.
Bye. Take care.